In horrific times, there is horror cinema. The Phantom of the Opera is a 1925 American silent horror film adaptation of Gaston Leroux's novel of the same name, directed by Rupert Julian and starring Lon Chaney in the title role of the deformed phantom who haunts the Paris Opera House, causing murder and mayhem in an attempt to make the woman he loves a star. The film remains most famous for Chaney's ghastly, self-devised makeup, which was kept a studio secret until the film's premiere. The picture also features Mary Philbin, Norman Kerry, Arthur Edmund Carew, Gibson Galland, John St. Paulus and Snitz Edwards. The last surviving cast member was Carla Laemmle, 1909-2014, niece of producer Carl Laemmle, who had a small, uncredited role as a prima ballerina in the film when she was about 15 years old. The first cut of the film was previewed in Los Angeles on January 26, 1925. The film was released on September 6, 1925, premiering at the Astor Theatre in New York. In 1953, the film entered the public domain in the United States because the film's distributor Universal Pictures did not renew its copyright registration in the 28th year after publication. At the Paris Opera House, Comte Philippe de Chagny and his brother, the Viscount Raoul de Chagny, attend a production of Faust, where the latter's sweetheart, Christine Day, may sing. Raoul wishes for Christine to resign and marry him, but she prioritizes her career over their relationship. Meanwhile, the former management has sold the opera house. While leaving, they tell the new managers about the opera ghost, a phantom who is the occupant of box number 5. Madame Carlotta, the prima donna, receives a letter from the phantom, demanding that Christine replace her the following night, threatening dire consequences if this does not happen. In Christine's dressing room, a voice tells her she must take Carlotta's place and think only of her career and her master. The following day, Christine reveals to Raoul that she has been tutored by a mysterious voice, that spirit of music, and it is now impossible to stop her career. Raoul says someone is probably playing a joke on her, and she storms off in anger. That evening, Christine substitutes for Carlotta. During the performance, the managers are startled to see, seated in box 5, a figure who later disappears. Simon Bouquet then finds the body of his brother, stagehand Joseph Bouquet, hanging by a noose and vows vengeance. Once again, a note from the phantom demands Carlotta say she is ill and let Christine replace her. The managers get a similar note, reiterating that if Christine does not sing, they will present Faust in a cursed house. The following evening, a defiant Carlotta sings. During the performance, the phantom drops the chandelier hanging from the ceiling onto the audience, killing people. Christine enters a secret door behind the mirror in her dressing room, descending into the lower depths of the opera. She meets the phantom, who introduces himself as Eric and declares his love. Christine faints and he carries her to an underground suite fabricated for her comfort. The next day, she finds a note from Eric telling her that she must never look behind his mask. As he is preoccupied playing his organ, Christine playfully tears off his mask, revealing his deformed face. Enraged, the phantom declares she is now his prisoner. She begs him to let her sing, and he relents, allowing her to visit the surface one last time if she promises not to see Raoul again. Released, Christine meets with Raoul at the annual masked ball, where the phantom appears disguised as the Red Death. On the roof of the opera house, Christine tells Raoul about her experiences. Unbeknownst to them, the phantom is listening nearby. Raoul swears to whisk Christine away to London following her next performance. As they leave the roof, a man with a fez approaches them. Aware that the phantom awaits downstairs, he leads Christine and Raoul to another exit. The next night, during her performance, Christine is kidnapped. Raoul rushes to her dressing room and meets the man in the fez again. He is actually Inspector Ledoux, a secret policeman who has been tracking Eric since he escaped as a prisoner from Devil's Island. After finding the secret door in Christine's room, the two men enter the Phantom's lair. They end up in a torture chamber of his design. Philippe also finds his way into the catacombs, looking for his brother, but is eventually drowned by Eric. The Phantom subjects Raoul and Ledoux to intense heat. He then locks them in with barrels of gunpowder and causes the room to flood. Christine begs Eric to save Raoul, promising him anything in return, even becoming his wife. This causes the Phantom to save Raoul and Ledoux. A mob led by Simon Bouquet infiltrates Eric's lair. As they approach, the Phantom attempts to flee with Christine. Raoul saves Christine while Eric, in one last act of twisted showmanship, frightens the crowd by pretending to hold some kind of lethal entity in his clenched fist, only to reveal an empty palm before he is swarmed and killed by the mob and thrown into the Seine. Raoul and Christine later go on their honeymoon in Viroflay. Primary cast: Lon Chaney as the Phantom, Mary Philbin as Christine Day, Norman Kerry as Viscount Raoul de Chagny, Arthur Edmund Carew as Ledoux, Gibson Galland as Simon Bouquet, John St. Paulus as Comte Philippe de Chagny, Snitz Edwards as Florine Papillon, and Virginia Pearson as Carlotta. Initial critical response for the film was mostly positive. Mordaunt Hall of the New York Times gave the film a positive review as a spectacle picture, but felt that the story and acting may have been slightly improved. Time praised the sets but felt the picture was only pretty good. Variety wrote, "The Phantom of the Opera is not a bad film from a technical viewpoint, but revolving around the terrifying of all inmates of the Grand Opera House in Paris by a criminally insane mind behind a hideous face, the combination makes a Welsh rabbit look foolish as a sleep destroyer." Among the more modern critical response, Roger Ebert awarded the film, for out of 4 stars, writing it creates beneath the opera one of the most grotesque places in the cinema, and Chaney's performance transforms an absurd character into a haunting one. Adrian Warren of Pop Matters gave the film 8 out of 10 stars, summarizing, "Overall, The Phantom of the Opera is terrific, unsettling, beautifully shot and imbued with a dense and shadowy Gothic atmosphere. With such a strong technical and visual grounding, it would have been difficult for Chaney to totally muck things up, and his performance is indeed integral, elevating an already solid horror drama into the realms of legendary cinema." Time Out gave the film a mostly positive review, criticizing the film's hobbling exposition, but praised Chaney's performance as being the best version of the title character, as well as the film's climax. TV Guide gave the film 4 out of 5 stars, stating, "One of the most famous horror movies of all time, The Phantom of the Opera still manages to frighten after more than 60 years." On Rotten Tomatoes, The Phantom of the Opera holds an approval rating of 90% based on 50 reviews from June 2002 to October 2020, with a weighted average rating of 8.3 out of 10. The site's critical consensus reads, "Decades later, it still retains its ability to scare, and Lon Chaney's performance remains one of the benchmarks of the horror genre."